does congruent mean? Or this sign right here, what does it mean?
Same size.
Yeah, I'm going to say, that's bad. Two things that are the same size and shape. And the size and shape will come in later, but that's basically what congruent is. The size of something usually has to do with the length of a side. The size. Shape has to do with the angles. But since angles don't necessarily have, the sides go on forever, don't they, in an angle?
Yep.
What do you think? What do you think about congruent angles? What does that mean? What do they have? The same measure. An example, we could say angle 1 is congruent to angle 2. Because angle 1 is not the same angle as angle 2, right? They're just the same size. Shape and size. However, what you say the measure of angle 1 is equal to the what? Measure of angle 2. And which we've talked about all this, haven't we? This is probably one of the most important theorems we'll deal with. I said this is a very important section because we're going to deal with congruent angles from this point on, and it'll be a big part of shapes, you know, how things are congruent or similar, or it's just something you got to be able to understand. Vertical angle theorem. Anytime two lines intersect, the opposite, what does that mean? Angles created are always, what does that mean? Congruent. I want you to think about what I just said there. What do you think that means? I'm going to draw a bunch of examples of two lines intersecting. You don't necessarily need to draw all these. Doesn't really matter. In every one of these cases, what are these? Two lines doing what? Intersecting. Well, with that in mind, what do you think this says? How would I label this? Do you know how we label angles that are congruent?
Yes, two
We put that little arc on it, right?
Yeah.
Okay. When two lines intersect, first of all, tell me how many angles are created. Right here, on this particular one. How many angles were created right here?
4.
That's right. There's the one here, the one here, the one here, the one here. Which ones would you say are opposite each other?
The ones on top line.
Opposite. The ones beside each other would be consecutive, wouldn't they? And what the vertical angle theorem says is that when two lines intersect, the opposite angles created are always what? So anytime you have a picture that has two lines intersecting, what do you know about the opposite angles?
They're congruent.
So this is congruent to that, right? And what? This is congruent to what?
That.
No matter what. Every single time. Is that easy or what? Think about it. So anytime, so let's go to this one. What's congruent to what? Tell me which two are congruent.
2 and 3.
1 and 3. All of them are congruent.
Nope, not all of them. Remember, don't go by what it looks. You're only going by,
1 and 2.
nope.
1 and
2
3.
and 4 and 3.
Guys, I want you to think about this.
2 and 3.
What does this say? The vertical angle theorem says that when two lines intersect, the what angles are congruent?
1 and 3.
Oh,
The
one.
opposite angles are congruent.
Oh,
One and
1.
This could be 89 degrees and this one 91, right? So angle 1 is congruent to what?
angle 3.
3.
Angle 2 is congruent to what?
Angle 4.
Now, does it look like they're close to all being the same?
Yes.
Yeah, but I haven't told you that, so do you know?
No.
No. You see the point I'm making there?
Yeah.
Like I said, this could be 89.5 and this 90.5. Agreed? Okay, let's look at this one. I'll label these.
1 and 4.
Tell me which ones, give me a pair that are congruent.
1
1
and
and
4.
4.
One's congruent to 4. Tell me another one.
2
2
and
and
3.
3.
Two's congruent to what?
3.
What about this two?
1 and 3.
1 and 4.
Which ones are congruent?
1 and 3.
3
2
and
and
2
4.
and 3.
Wow.
Easy peasy, isn't it?
Lemon squeezy.
The two things you can tell by a picture, by looking at it, are vertical angles, and what's the other one we've talked about? If two angles together create a straight line, what do we know from there to there is what?
Supplementary.
180 degrees, right? Everyone agree?
Yeah.
That's right.
So that's the funny thing, when you have a situation like this, you know the opposite angles are congruent, and you know the ones beside each other add to what?
180.
180. You see what I mean? The opposite ones are congruent, these two, the ones beside each other add to what? 180, because they create a straight line, right? And this is things that you're going to be expected to know when you look at the picture. Okay? So you see how this could be something that you might have to do a lot. Okay? There's a theorem that says if two angles are congruent to the same angle, if two angles are complementary to the same angle, then those two angles must be congruent. What that's saying is if angle 1 and angle 2 are both complementary to angle 3, wouldn't angle 1 and angle 2 have to be the same thing? Left out of 90? In other words, if 1 was 60, right? And this was 30. And I said that angle 2's complementary with angle 3, what would angle 2 have to be? 60, wouldn't it? Because complementary means they add to what? 90 degrees. Okay? And the same thing, there's a supplement theorem too that says the same thing. A lot of the other theorems in here are, to be honest, are really just very basic ones. Do we have any worksheets left? Did everybody hand out a worksheet?
I gave him back to
Okay,
right now.
good. All right, so let's get our worksheet out. So this is where we need to work. Find the value of x in each part here. Here's what I'm going to tell you. In each of these cases, you're in essence going to have situations where they're equal, or probably situations where they add to 180 or they add to 90. You're going to have to relate. Now, what do you know here? How does the angle, this angle labeled right here, relate to this angle right here? What kind of angles are they? But what kind of congruent angles? What are they called? No. Complementary means add to 90.
Oh, my bad.
What theorem was it called? It's sitting there right above you.
Vertical.
These angles are said to be
Vertical triangle theorem.
vertical. Vertical angles, right? So these two are vertical angles, therefore they're congruent. So whatever this is, x, is equal to whatever this is, what is it?
55.
So what is x?
55.
I really created an equation there, didn't I?
Yeah.
Any questions on that? By looking at the picture, we can know these things. Let's move along to number 2. How do the two labeled angles relate to each other?
They're vertical.
They are vertical. So whatever this one is, which is what?
110.
Is equal to whatever this one is. What is that one?
110.
What is this one?
100.
It says it's what?
X.
X.
So 110 is equal to x, so what's x equal to?
110.
So there's no solving to do there, is there? It's already solved once you set there. That's what I want you guys to understand is that in essence, when you say x equals 110, you're writing an equation, aren't you?
Yes.
Because these two are equal. Let's go on to this one. To number 3. How do the two labeled angles relate to each other?
They're vertical.
Vertical, meaning they are congruent, just like they've already been nice and labeled for us. So whatever this is, which is what?
X minus
X minus 5
equals
is
42.
equal to whatever this is, which is?
42.
42.
Well, in this case, is x already solved for?
No.
Does everybody see where I got that? So now it's the same as the other ones you just did. It's just, it's not already solved for x, so you need to solve it for x. What do I do to solve for x?
Or add 5.
Wouldn't I add 5 to both sides to get x by itself? So x is equal to what?
47.
47.
Make sense?
Yep.
So the difference between 1, 2, and 3, they're the same thing. It's just that when you wrote your equation down, they were already solved for x here, but when you wrote things down that were equal here, it wasn't solved for x, was it? All you're doing, in essence, is writing down what's equal. That's what I expect you to do on your homework. Let's look at number 4. How do these two relate to each other?
They're vertical.
Therefore, they are what? Congruent and equal. What is this one?
156.
I'd like more than one person, the same person to say it every time. What's that equal to? Whatever this is, what's that?
3x.
3x.
Is this solved for x?
No.
No.
What do I do?
Divided by 3.
Very good. X is equal to?
52.
52.
Mm-hmm.
Not so terrible, is it? Look at number 5. How do these two relate to each other? Are they vertical? Everyone look up here. So what does that make them?
Congruent.
Congruent.
So whatever this is, which is what?
90.
90.
Is equal to whatever this is, which is what?
2x plus 4.
Is it already solved for x?
No.
So now I need to what?
Minus 4.
I subtract 4 both sides. I'm left with 2x is equal to 86. Divide both sides by?
2. 43.
She got that written down.
Yeah. It says free.
I know. Has everybody got that one down? I guess I'm zooming in as far as I can. Okay, number 6, all pencils down. Hear me? Okay. Look at this problem. How do these two relate to each other? Are they vertical angles?
No.
They are not vertical. So do I know that they're equal? No. So that's, I can't say that they're equal, can I? And it's not just because they don't look like it. Well, how else could they relate to each other?
They both add up to equal 180.
Why? Why do these two together equal 180?
Because they make a straight line.
Because this together and here, that creates that's a straight line, isn't it? Right? So whatever this is, what is this?
5x plus 10.
So 5x plus 10 plus whatever this is, what is that?
X
plus
plus
20.
20. X plus 20.
Is equal to
180.
180 degrees.
I did that one. Yeah, me too.
Now, is this solved for x?
No.
So I have some like terms combined, don't I?
Mm-hmm.
5x and x are what?
6.
10 and 20 is what?
30.
Plus 30 is equal to what?
180.
What's my next step?
30.
6x is equal to what?
150.
Divide both sides by what?
6.
It's 25.
Now, here's what I wish they would have done on this problem. I wish they wouldn't have written it like this. I wish they would have gone ahead and finished this. Why do you think I wish that?
Because then it would have been vertical. Would have been vertical.
Well, then you would have had both a picture of what? Vertical angles and a picture of a linear pair, right? Because all of these other ones, they gave you two vertical angles, didn't they? They didn't give you did any time they give you the two angles beside each other?
No.
They didn't, did they? Always gave you ones what? And then this time, they threw us for a loop. Instead of giving us the ones opposite of each other, they gave us the ones what? Beside each other. The difference is the ones beside each other in this situation add to what? 180. The ones opposite each other are what? Congruent. You guys see the difference? Okay. Any questions?